Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bass Tales. Glad to have you all back, and if you're new, thanks for listening. Today we're going to have an interesting episode, a little different. We're not going to go over too many of different techniques or history or anything like that. Today we're going to talk about the effects of fishing on your physical and mental health. And I think it's very important to people to know the benefits of it. Before we get into it, let's get into our news of the day. And our first article is coming out of Nova Scotia, Canada. And I read this article. I didn't know what to make of it, really. I think it's a little outrageous. They have a fine going on that can go up to $500,000 if you catch a smallmouth bass and then release it. You're supposed to hold the fish, kill it yourself, and not put it back in the water. And a first offense could be up to $100,000, and a second offense could be $500,000 or up to 2 years in jail. It also covers pickerel as another game fish that you might catch if you release it as well. So there's these three different areas in Nova Scotia that this could happen. And I don't know. I think these fines are a little harsh. I don't think anyone should be fined that much up for just fishing. If you're fishing with a child or something and the child, doesn't want to see you kill the fish, I understand that type of thing, having little kids. So I think that's a little crazy, but it's good to know. So if you're going to fish up in the Nova Scotia area, know that that could result in a fine for you. Our friends up north in Canada, you guys probably already heard about this, but if not, hopefully you're hearing of it now, and just keep that in mind if you're fishing in that Nova Scotia area in those three different water areas, which I did not see listed. Second news article of today, and I've been seeing a lot of these new state records come by, which is good to see. There are some healthy big fish out there. There might be a new smallmouth state record in New York, caught by Dante Peranio. He was fishing in a New York Federation Bass National Tournament in Augsburg, New York on Sunday, September 22nd, when he caught this massive smallmouth bass. He caught it making a long run down the St. Lawrence River, fishing near Cape Vincent. He was using a Berkley flat-nose minnow rigged to a lead head, and he was targeting fish on his Garmin LiveScope. The fish that he caught weighed in at 9 pounds. It had an 18.25-inch girth and 23.112-inch length. The existing record in New York right now is 8 pounds 6 ounces. It was caught in 2022 at Cayuga Lake. In addition to this impressive catch, he also qualified for the Bass National Championship. And the record now is pending by the New York DEC because they weren't able to come and send a staffer to confirm that day, and he wanted to release the fish. So he had proper pictures and videos and witnesses, obviously witnessing being in that tournament that day, and got a proper scale measurement. So hopefully that record does go through for him, and he did release that fish back in, so there is a chance someone else could catch that massive fish in the future, which is pretty neat. And kind of funny, right to our third and final news story of this episode, is there was another smallmouth bass record. These smallmouth bass are getting big out there, so if you're planning on doing some, maybe you'll catch some big ones. So another record, this one was Montana's record, might have been broken. The fish was caught by Josh Johnson, and it was 8 pounds 4 ounces, and it was 22 and almost a half inches long, and the bass was caught on a 3/4 ounce football jig. And after filming it and ensuring a proper weigh-in, he did release the 8-pounder for someone else to have a shot at it. So there's another record out there swimming around still. And Johnson's fish beats out the previous record of 7.8 pounds and 22 inches caught in 2021. There's 2 new state record smallmouth that are waiting to get verified. So we should hear on those soon. So let's get into our main story today, the effects of mental and physical health on yourself from fishing. And fishing has a very positive effect, and that's why if you go fishing, I notice it myself. You guys probably notice it, but if you have a good day out on a nice sunny day out on the water and not even catching fish, but just being out there, it just gives you that like boost of energy, makes you feel good going into the rest of your day. Like if I go fishing before I go to work, I always just feel more accomplished and in a good mood that day. And there's many reasons for that. And I kind of made a whole list of reasons, so we'll go over that soon. But there's also some different facts and stuff I wanted to go over. And the main thing I thought about this the other day, I was thinking about how miserable it was during COVID. But the one benefit of COVID, it brought a lot of people outdoors. It did bring people into outdoor activities that might have never gone fishing before. And the sad part is a lot of those people left after like 2021. The sales and the fishing license sales went way down. So they did see a drop in that after COVID. And it's kind of sad because a lot of people that got into it, too bad they didn't stay into it because there's so much benefits fishing and other outdoor activities. Besides fishing, you could go hiking or for a walk, and you're going to get a lot of these same type of benefits, but it might not give you the enjoyment if fishing does. So one thing I want to say, this is about recreational fishing. It's the total opposite for commercial fishing. Commercial fishing is definitely a stressful job, and it could be dangerous at times, and injuries and chronic pain and sleep deprivation and anxiety and depression and other stressors that come along with commercial fishing. And that might also go, I didn't get into it too much, but professional fishermen, some of those type of deals in tournament fishing, when there's a lot of money on the line and you got to make money, it might also be a negative on you. So this is more for recreational fishing and recreation fishing, also tournament fishing where a lot of money isn't on the line and you're not putting up a lot of money. Stuff like that. It's going to increase your well-being of mental and physical health. But keep in mind, for like a pro that's just trying to get started, it's not something that is going to bring you a lot of joy. It's going to be a stressful situation for most, especially if you don't have a ton of money and you're putting a lot of money on the line. And commercial fishing, you're not going to get the same benefits out of it as well. I wanted to just throw that out there. And back to COVID, a lot of people ended up developing some mental, definitely conditions, depression, anxiety from COVID. Myself, like during COVID, I just was home with the kids all the time. I wasn't working. My kids were real young. They were, I'm trying to think back now. So 2020. So I was at home with like a 5 and a 3-year-old. Very stressful ages to take care of. People don't realize how hard it is to be a parent. Sometimes just working is your escape from the stresses of being a parent. But it is one thing that people don't talk about is how rewarding it is to be a parent. It's the most rewarding thing you could do probably in your life, but it's also one of the hardest things to do in your life. They don't talk about that. Family is a very important thing. Everyone should have a family and have kids if possible. So I was going through a rough patch during COVID, and I actually went to the doctor, looked into doing some medications and counseling right after COVID. Everyone has these type of issues. People don't like to talk about them, but it's a good thing to put out there that it's strong of you to go out and seek some help and get it if you need it. I was talking to the actual nurse practitioner that saw me that day, and I was just explaining situations, and she was talking about medications and stuff like that, and just I wasn't feeling like taking anything, just talking to her, and she's like, I'm on an antidepressant. And I remember thinking it was kind of crazy because she's like in her 20s, a real pretty girl, and I'm like, why do you take antidepressants? Just curious, because she was just trying to make me feel better about when she was talking to him about that situation. And she said that the stresses of her job, just seeing people every day that she can't help, stuff like that. I don't know exactly, but yeah, she said basically worldwide there are, well, countrywide, I guess, there is, like probably a quarter of the people are on some type of antidepressant, which isn't good. I'm not promoting those at all for sure. If you can do it without that, with counseling and exercise and stuff to keep your mind right, that's the best way of doing it. But if you need something like that, you should go and get it and definitely seek some help and talk to people, talk to family members, talk to whoever your doctor is. So, fishing isn't a cure for all. I just want you to know out there that it will help, but it isn't always a cure for everything. And fishing for us that were always fishing during COVID got a little more stressful because you couldn't find certain fishing lures. Everything was out of stock. You'd go to your spot, and there were all these new people out there, which was great to see fishing. It was very tough because you like now had that spot that you used to go to. Maybe one or two other people are there. Now it's packed with people. So that was a kind of a bummer in a way for that aspect, but good for people to get out there and definitely try it. Basically, the United States has really an epidemic, yeah, hard word to say, 39.3%, so almost 40% of the population here in the United States has some type of like depression, anxiety issues that they've sought out help for. So you got to think that 39.3, that's a big amount. And then there's people else that don't go and seek help. So that is a very bad situation in the United States. And I think it did jump if you look back during COVID, which everyone was very stressed out about. Worldwide, it's only 4%. So in the U.S. and some other countries, it is way worse than the whole overall look of the rest of the world. And I think just the situation of just how much we work in this country and just the way the whole system's set up, it is a very stressful situation for many people. And I remember when I was looking this up that it is the highest out of all the higher income countries with the most amount of stress. A lot of the other ones with stress anxiety, like lower income countries and stuff like that. During this whole situation of COVID, it did bring a lot more people into fishing, but it brought a lot more mental health issues in for people. And also some physical issues too. I used to go to the gym a lot more. I was going all the time, and then COVID came and the gym shut down. So you had no access to go to gyms. You were stuck at home. You couldn't get out of the house. It was not a good thing all around. And the way the politicians handled it was not the right way, I don't believe. A lot of people don't believe that. But everyone had to fight through it, and we all got to learn from that experience and hope for the better in the future. And I remember just thinking when I went to take the kids to the playground, having playgrounds roped off and you couldn't use them, even though I found one playground that wasn't really too well roped off and I used to take my kids to. It was just, I remember thinking at the time, I felt bad for the kids that are like in the city. We live in like the suburbs, so you can get out and walk around. But imagine being a young kid in the cities, cooped up in an apartment with no park to go to, nowhere to go. It was a crazy time there for a few months or a few years really. That it's just people still not fully recovered. I still see people that are wearing masks, young kids that maybe they have some health issues, but I think a lot of them, it's just they're scared. They never got rid of that anxiety. And I think in a way, and people did die from COVID, a lot of people. I got really sick with a fever for 7 days with COVID, but I think it might have created more harm with the lockdowns than good. I understand my wife's a nurse. I understand they didn't want to overrun the hospitals, but there were better ways of doing this, that you could have let society still communicate better with each other and not been locked away. from friends and family and set in fear by the news every day. It was not a good time all around. But we're through that now, and hopefully we never have to experience anything like that and in any of our lifetimes, hopefully not. So fishing does bring a lot of good things for physical and mental health. And I just wanted to talk about a few here today. So I'm going to go down basically my list here of the reasons why we should fish and get more people involved in fishing if you can, friends or family. Like number one, we'll talk about the physical part of it. It's more mental than physical, but there is a physical part to it. So it's a low impact cardio, engages basically all the muscle groups. It's going to get you that natural vitamin D. That's a very important vitamin for your body because you get it from the sunlight. You have to be wary though, because like I have fair skin. If you have fair skin, you don't want to get too much sunlight because then you have the chance of skin cancer. The vitamin D is very important to you, so monitor it well. You need to get some sunlight. You can't always just cover yourself in sunscreen because you won't pick up the vitamin D, but also you can get vitamin D in pill form. And it's probably one of the best vitamins you can actually take if you're only going to take one vitamin. So that natural sunlight, just the feeling of that sunlight is good for you too. And just the lung health, being out in the fresh air. That difference, just being out on the water or near the woods, if you're in that situation fishing, just the sounds of nature around you, the natural feeling of that's just good for you. So basically, the physical part you're going to get from walking to spots, kayaking, canoeing, wading in the water is going to help with your core and your legs with balancing. The casting motions with your rod and reel, and you're going to get a little bit of strength into your upper back and arms from doing that. It's not like going to the gym, but it does do a low impact of all the different exercises, and you're going to burn some calories doing this. And when I looked it up, you can burn between 500 and 1,500 calories while you are fishing, which is a good amount of calories for something that you enjoy doing. Also, if you're dragging around a kayak or a canoe, that will burn a good amount of calories on top of just fishing. I take my canoe or my kayak and throw it in the back of my truck and drag it to a fishing spot. Definitely activating a lot of muscles doing that. Pretty much a whole body exercise, just dragging those boats from the water destination and back home. So that's another thing to think about for the physical aspects of fishing. Well, let's get in another part, kind of the mental part of how fishing is beneficial to you. It's definitely a stress reducer and an anxiety manager. It's going to help lower your body stress hormone, cortisol. I think it's cortisol it's called. So it's going to lower your cortisol, which your body produces the stress hormone. It's going to help lower that. Basically, from the meditative qualities of focus and awareness while you're fishing, you're focusing on the technique you're doing, the awareness of seeing where you're putting your lure or waiting for that bite. That's going to help you basically kind of put yourself in a meditative state while you're fishing. It's kind of going to free you from that. The natural tranquility of the lake and the gentle flow of a river. It's a proven fact that living on water or being on water is a natural stress reducer. I read articles years ago by that people that live on water, like have a lake house or whatever, they naturally have a decrease of stress in their lives. It's going to enhance your focus and mindfulness. It's going to immerse yourself in the present moment, and it's going to improve your concentration and patience. So you got to learn stronger patience from waiting for these fish to bite. It's going to boost your self-esteem and social connections. Catching a fish will boost that self-esteem right away. It'll give you that feeling and sense of achievement and confidence. It's going to help foster social bonds with other people that you're out fishing with. Going out fishing with others is going to help you combat isolation or loneliness. You know someone that's lonely or something, get them out there, take them fishing. It's all about helping other people as best as you can. And then we're going to talk about enhancing cognitive functions. So we're going to focus and problem solve with fishing, solving different skills. It's creative thinking about new spots or changing to a different lure when your lure isn't working or your bait, and trying to figure that out. It's all about troubleshooting issues. That attention to details, rigging baits and lures, hand-eye coordination comes from that. Heightened level of focus. This will all increase that cognitive functions. Concentrations and patience is going to come from fishing. Fishing demands concentration and focus, that total counter of digital distractions from the internet and TV or sports or anything that you watch. It's going to be immerse yourself into that and do the total opposite of just sitting back and just chilling and looking at your phone. It's going to demand your concentration, and that's going to help. It's going to teach the value of patience, which helps with your ADHD if you have ADHD. Mental resilience and mental health, using or practicing those skills to keep the brain active and benefit to help with, basically it's proven to help with dementia. The relaxation and response, reducing blood pressure, enhancing overall cognitive functions. And you got to go back to these social benefits. You're building community connections, shared fishing adventures with your families and friends, or maybe just others that you met out on the water. And a very important thing is mentoring new anglers and learning from others. This exchange of knowledge and skills is very important. Going out and teaching other people to fish, including my friends and family. It's always a good thing for them to learn these new skills. It's helping them, while it's also you mentoring them. Combating isolation is a way to reconnect with making new friends, or a place where you can have an open conversation and support each other. Togetherness, a sense of companionship. It draws that all together from the act of just fishing together. It's an engagement across generations. I only got once to fish with my uncle. Like I said before, I never really grew up with anyone close to me that was really into fishing. I kind of developed it on my own when I was younger and kind of learned how to. But I remember once vividly going out with my uncle in his boat and going fishing when I was really young, probably like 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that one time. But this is beneficial for seniors that want to take out their grandkids, or grandkids that want to take out their grandparents. It offers them a chance to socialize and share their knowledge. You get those good old grandfather stories that I used to get from my grandfather, not from fishing, but just spending time with your grandparents. It's different when you're older and retired and you have not much going on anymore, and it's good for them to get out and tell those stories and associate with people, especially if they're stuck in a nursing home or something of that type and they can't get out much. Go out with your grandparents, go fishing. If they offer to take you fishing, definitely go with them. There's only a valuable amount of time with people, and you don't want to waste it. And fishing, that boosts your self-esteem and resilience. It's mastering those new skills that you read about or learned online. It instills a sense of accomplishment, confidence boost. With each new skill you mastered, your confidence will soar, conquering self-challenges and celebrating personal victories, like catching your newest personal best size bass or any type of fish, or a different fish, a type of species you never caught before. Just catching that type of stuff will make your self-confidence just increase. Patience and resilience. The loss of the fish teaches a lessons in patience and acceptance. Losing that fish and accepting it. It happens to us all. I've lost plenty of good fish, as so everyone else has, and just acceptance. Be like, hey, I'm going to get another one next time I go out. I'll come back and get it again in that same spot, hopefully. It's just learning from that and being resilient, and that acceptance is a very important thing. You got to just accept when life gives you lemons. You got to try to turn that into lemonade. It's going to bring you achievement and self-worth. Catching a fish that leads to a goal that was achieved, or a challenge overcome, like I said, by maybe catching that new personal record or a different type of species, or just catching multiple fish that day. So you got the not catching fish or losing a fish that will teach you that acceptance, but then you got that achievement and self-worth from when you have a great day on the water. So the negatives have effects that could actually be turned into positives, and obviously the positives will create positives. So that sense of achievement fosters a deeper sense of self-worth and confidence, reinforcing the belief that perseverance leads to success, which is great to learn, and fishing will bring you that. You know, if you go trout or salmon fishing, a lot of people will eat those. Some people do eat like bass and perch and other fish too. I don't really catch, if I go trout fishing, I usually give it to the guy that, if I'm fishing off the shore right next to me, if I don't release it, I'll give it to the guy if he's not catching any. So I know a lot of people will take them home and cook them. I haven't myself. Someday I might try it. I've tried different other types of fish before, never been a big fan. So I'd rather just put the fish back and let someone else catch it that wants to eat it, or give it to someone that'll eat it. To me, I just like sticking to eating like cod and haddock and like saltwater whitefish. If you do eat these fish, especially like trout and salmon, they give you tons of essential vitamins and minerals. You got the vitamin D, like we talked about, B12, and many more that will help you support strong bones and teeth and healthy immune system, while also promoting a good cell growth, enhancing your mental functions, and improve sleep quality. But one thing you do eating these fish, be mindful of mercury and other harmful chemicals that might be contaminated in those waterways. So that is something to keep in mind when you're eating these fish. Not eating too much fish because of the mercury level. I would keep it to basically, 2 servings of fish a week. I wouldn't eat too much fish, but it is very good for you. And it's like we said before, it's a low impact exercise. Just that casting and reeling engages your upper body and core, walking, wading, and standing in the water. That challenges your balance and engages your leg muscles and core. And fishing's for everyone. You can be a little kid and go fishing to a senior citizen. It's for all ages. It's all for all genders, cultures, and diversity. Fishing's for everyone. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this Clay Dyer, but he was born with no legs, no left arm, and no right hand. And he's actually fished in professional fishing the Bassmaster Opens and the FLW tours. It's kind of amazing. You guys got to watch some of his YouTube videos. He ties lures with his mouth, and he puts the rod like on his chin and uses his head, uses like his mouth basically to work like the bait cast and reel. It's kind of amazing. If you have a disability, something, this guy can do it. If you see his videos, basically anyone can do it. And his motto, which is a great motto in life, is if I can, you can, which is a great motto, because if you have full function in your body, there's no reason why you can't get out there and become a pro fisherman if that's one of your dreams, or just get out there and fish. I saw a local man that he's in a wheelchair, and he got out there and he took his kids fishing. You got to live your life, get out there. Don't let anything set you back. So those are some of the reasons I just wanted to go over. There are so many different reasons that fishing is a great therapy for yourself. Another proven fact here is I got some stories, or not stories, but some facts from doctors, that one of the things that people use fishing for is therapy for people that have trauma. They bring veterans out to help lower their risk of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts, counter other mental health conditions. Basically, the they did a study on it. 17% of veterans that had some type of trauma did increase and feel better after fishing. Dr. Mike Trebet of one study, people who engage in the hobby of fishing yield greater cognitive benefits. Here in my local area, there is a nonprofit, Mission 22 on Cape Cod, Mass. They provide therapy for military vets, taking them out fishing. It's an important step is to skip the alcohol fishing to get the full mental benefits of fishing. That was quoted by Dr. Drew Ramsey. Big fact is human beings aren't supposed to be cooped up in spaces. Being outdoors is good for the soul. It's that connection with nature, being on the water. It's an uptick in your endorphins. It's a purpose and meaning to be out there. It's enjoyable and therapeutic. 38% see angling as a mean to relax and relieve stress. It helps increase your concentration and keeps you physically active like we talked about. There's too many benefits to fishing not to do it. If you know someone that's struggling, like I said, bring them out fishing. It's all you can do is try your best to help people out or yourself if you're struggling. And maybe just fishing a little more might help you. If you're really struggling, definitely seek help. The world isn't always as bad as it seems. And there's people out there that want to help. And most people are good. So get out there and fish. That's all I can say. I'm not a doctor, but there's too much physical and mental health benefits. Just increasing eating healthier and getting more physical, maybe going to the gym, lifting some weights, or doing some more cardio, like hiking or jogging. Just doing that stuff with fishing. That's going to help you. So your body is all connected. If you're physically healthy, it's going to help with your mental health. The food you put in your body is going to help. If you're just putting sugars and carbs in your body all the time and you're not eating fruits and vegetables, get away from those processed foods. Eat more natural foods, basic meats, not processed meats. Get out there and eat some nuts and fruits and vegetables. Try to stick away from as much processed food as you can. That's the best. My best advice is to get as much exercise as you can. Don't kill yourself on it, but push yourself as hard as you can go. And then on top of that, make sure you do eat a healthy meal with not too many processed foods. Take your vitamins. Get out there. All you can do is help yourself with this type of stuff, and it's going to make you feel a lot better knocking off some of that junk food. Drink more water. That's one thing you can do as well. Get away from sugary drinks and drink more water. There's just too many benefits from fishing to list them all, but I think I went through most of them. Just know that when you go fishing, you're not just out there enjoying your time fishing. You are actually helping your mental and physical health. You guys all have a great day. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share and follow us and subscribe. Really appreciate it. We're trying to make this podcast better and better as we go and we learn. I kind of do this for my own mental health, and I think it helps a little bit. It makes a sense of accomplishment doing this, because some of us, including myself, don't get too much fulfillment from their jobs. I get a lot of fulfillment from my family, but as you know, you can't spend all your time with your family. Get out there, get some fishing in, bring someone that looks like they might need some fishing in their life, and remember, socialize, be kind, be good to your friends, and if you do need some help, there is someone out there that will give you help. Love you all. You guys have a great day.